about that? As a start.
We
You know,
don't have to work to pay the bills.
to pay the bills and other sort of
Bills
bills.
don't exist.
Bills in the future won't exist
Yeah.
because there won't be money, because there will be abundance.
Yeah.
You know, the other technologies are transportation technologies. We can be very light as an impact on Earth if we don't have all this pollution.
All the fossil
The
fuels.
fossil fuels, gas, oil, coal, all the minerals that are being pumped out. You know, in your average phone, you have so many rare earth elements there, and go check it out, that these are running out. For example, out of 100% of rare earth elements like neodymium or whatever you name it, China, who is a major manufacturing driver of this economy, has already depleted of these about 2/3 of its, 1/3 of its resources. So, you know, we need to make a transition.
And so C5, tell us about C5 and like how, like, what if, you know, like me, like I wanted to get involved with C5. So if anyone in the room wanted to get involved with C5 or know more about C5, like what action could they take? Like how could they get involved with C5 UK?
C5 UK deals with all of what I just mentioned, and is a diplomatic, peaceful initiative to communicate with these visitors that we have, that we've been having for quite some time. And it is human initiated and it's peaceful. We don't want people to go out and, you know, take the gunshot and, you know, shoot when, like scared chicken. We want to communicate with these beings. They are very physical. There are those that are non-physical, you know, I don't want to go into this, but there are those as well, and certain manifestations of those other non-physical beings could be confused with the manifestations of these physical beings out there. But you can still initiate contact. How? The central bottom line of C5 is the science of consciousness. Basically, we are all conscious beings, you and I. When you close your eyes, what happens? You see something that everybody sees. This is an unlimited field of consciousness that processes all of this information that you get from touch, feel, sight, and so all the senses. So this is how, when you go into quiet meditation and access this unlimited non-local field, which we call consciousness. It's non-local because, you know, my body and your body is very physical. So you can shut off the body a little bit and kind of connect to the one, because we are all one. How do we know we are all one? Well, basically, if I can produce this little cup here, you know, if I can get to the idea of, you know, getting a cup in order to drink water, you can do too. You know, if you took the time and then the education and if you know how this is done, but once you get the idea, you can do the same. So we are operating in this same field, consciousness or intelligence. And this is why we can project this and we can operate in this field with these beings.
Or kind of like how we did in the meditation when I invited you all to connect with the people in Standing Rock. So that's an example of us connecting intentionally with humans that are on planet Earth. CE5 is the same, but it's intentionally connecting with beings that are, you know, not of Earth or not human, for example. It's like exactly the same premise.
That is correct. You know, some of these beings evolved on different planets, and therefore they do not have the same, you know, needs in terms of, you know, bodily needs to process food. They do eat something, certain things. They can eat plant, mushroom, and stuff like that. You know, they can eat certain. You know, they can, like we breathe. They can basically consume certain particulates, little tiny pieces from the air. They have, you know, a bit different. They look like you and me almost. You know, basically they got a head, 2 legs, 2 feet, 2 hands. They have a little bit different face and possibly a little bit different biology, but they all are intelligent. And they're conscious. when you look into their eyes, and then when they look into yours. So you can interface with them, we can call it communication. How do we communicate with these? Well, basically, C5 is about taking a chair, go to the next possible hill you like with a group of people. You can take recording devices like we do now in order to show it to your friends if you like, and sit into quiet meditation and perform these so-called protocols that Dr. Stephen Greer has developed. What are these? It's basically inviting these civilizations to come down where you are and interface with you. How? Well, you don't speak their language. Probably they don't do yours either. So you can communicate with devices such as a laser, a small laser. Be careful, they're very powerful, not to damage your retina or someone else's. You can take a radar detector like this. It records signals, records electromagnetic, certain parts of the electromagnetic spectrum that these, vehicles emit. So you can catch these, and you can, signal to them when they show up, and they'll signal back. That's what we're doing. Now, how do they show up, and why do they show up? Very important questions. And are they hostile to us? Why didn't they, we have all been brainwashed with the, bad aliens, let's kick some alien butt. If they were hostile to you, or to us as a planet, with their weapons, which we sort of are on par with now, if weaponized, it'll be over in a, pico nanosecond. The Earth and all its occupants would be turned to fine dust. So the fact that we are doing this conversation now is abundant testimony that, they're not hostile. Now, they're mainly here for science, observation, and they kind of care because they're also conscious beings, and they love us, just like we probably should love them, because they care for you. If you start shooting at someone, how are you going to react? You start shooting at your mother, not going to be cool, right? Because she loves you. It is
the same with what's happening in Standing Rock. So how many people know about what's happening in Standing Rock? Okay, cool. So there's a lot of peaceful protests that are happening with the indigenous people, and they're being met with a lot of violence. So it's really, that for me is a microcosm of this kind of macrocosmic, thing that's happening at the moment in relation to our non-human brothers and sisters, shall we say.
That's right. This is how they view themselves.
For me,
actually.
as that is happening and is healing, because I feel that all those people that have come to that place to just hold the space for the violence, shall we just say, that I feel that is paving a very, very important way forwards for what we're talking about.
Yes.
Like you were saying, until we kind of get stuff sorted on our planet and we're all kind of being kind and sweet and courteous and compassionate and loving and peaceful to one another, it's going to be impossible for us to kind of, have these relationships with, non-human beings.
There is a nice book here I brought, and this is full of 242 cases of C5 contacts, where Richard Haynes, Dr. Richard Haynes from NASA with Greer, very high up in NASA actually, has written this, where it gives you abundant testimony that when these things happen, we are usually the hostile person. We usually shoot at them. We scream and so on. Although they have not really, out of fear, which could be, induced by certain things. If they usually don't get too close to you because due to their electrogravitics and the properties of their transportation vehicles, if they get too close to you, you'll be either incinerated or you will have severe burns due to gamma radiation and you'll immediately die or get cancer. So that's why. They know their vehicles. So when you go out there and shine to them a laser or actually a torch, it's much safer, a powerful torch. You get a powerful torch, you see a UFO, talk about the UFO term after that, but you shine it at them, it might shine back. if it is them, you need to you need to use judgment if it's them or not.
And this was what was interesting for me when I went to C5, because I was just like, how the heck how do you determine between like a UFO and like, I don't know, a plane or some satellite? And just going to the first CE5 Skywatch in the UK, it was really interesting because they have a lot of amazing instruments and kind of infrared, I don't know, devices, and you had lists and pages of all the satellites that were moving across and all of the flight paths and everything, so that it's actually really easy to, when you know what you're looking for and you know what's happening in the sky, to be able to determine a UFO, an unidentified flying object versus a whole bunch of other things that are all there just doing their stuff. So that was really interesting. I'm just conscious of time as well.
Yeah, I don't want to, I can talk probably.
Yeah, the first time that Vlad and I spoke, we spoke one night at probably about 11, and we were just going, like, I think we spoke about an hour and a half without stopping, and we could have, the only reason that we stopped because we were like, oh, it's like 1, we should probably go to bed.
Yeah, maybe I can mention a few things and open it to questions and then go. I don't know if this is interesting to people.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm just conscious it's 10 to 10, so we've technically got 10 minutes until like the end of Spread the Love. I don't have to play any more music, that's all good, like I'm fine with that. But I've just got a few things to mention before we close, and then like a closing meditation. But to make sure that we finish on time, because this is the other important thing, like I've had Spread the Loves, we'll go until 11 sometimes, we'll go really late if people are like, oh my god, I don't want to go anywhere. But I really want to make sure that like I close it off and finish it for 10. So theoretically, we could probably have like another 5 minutes of kind of chat with Vlad, or I don't know if anyone has, how does that sound? Is that, because obviously this is our gathering, like does that sound good? You guys all want to finish at 10 on time? Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, actually, after we finish, if anyone still wants to hear more, you can just talk to Vlad.
Yep.
It's like, he's like actually here. But before you continue, like, does anyone? Because I'm getting really good at like honoring time. I'm like really good at it now. I used to be terrible. Does anyone have any questions for Vlad?